What is up there, SEO pros? Welcome back. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do a combination of a short tutorial for how to rank locally plus a Hangout. So I'm going to post the Hangout link after I do this short tutorial. Basically what we're going to be covering is this post I made. I'm going to kind of go into a little bit of detail about how I was able to rank this iPhone repair site in about 2 months, and then I'm going to show you how you can pretty much apply this to anything locally. So let me just open up this stream really quick so I can keep track of the comments. Yeah, so basically, we're just going to start this. So if you guys haven't seen this post yet, I'll link to it in the description. But yeah, so we're just going to start with step one, buy your domain. So this is the site I got, and I was able to rank, and I actually have a 3-part video series for this. I think when I did this in about 2016, I have 3 videos for it, but all of the same, a lot of this stuff you're going to be doing is going to be the same these days for what you're going to want to do to rank this stuff. So you can see it's ranking number 1 on the map, and then I can't get it to beat Yelp organically, which is whatever. But, oh, this isn't private search, just in case you guys need me to do this. But you'll see what I did is I bought the domain iPhone Repair Santa Barbara, and so that's an EMD, exact match domain. Now, it's not completely necessary to do that. There's a lot of people who can rank, like for instance, this site doesn't say anything about iPhone repair in the domain name. I just found that it's easier to rank these sites if you're actually using the domain name as sort of the brand name, and you brand it with the URL. And I'll show you why. So if we're doing internal link silos, which we'll cover this in a little bit, you'll see, like, if I go to this page, I'm linking back to the home page with the anchor text iPhone repair Santa Barbara, right? Because that's what I'm trying to rank the home page for. So if you're going to be using an exact match domain, it makes it a lot easier because it looks a little bit more legit. Because if you're going to make your brand, for instance, say it's Todd's iPhone Repair.com, then your link silos are going to probably be more geared to link back to Todd's iPhone Repair, and then you can put the city, has more experience, that kind of thing, right? But I found that it's easier to rank, in my opinion, when you have an exact match domain for the branding purposes. As far as the EMD being a ranking factor, apparently it's not anymore, so I wouldn't buy it just so you can get like a ranking factor boost out of it. Thanks, Kalok. All right, so step number 2, you're going to want to choose your CMS. I use Squarespace for this. The reason why I use Squarespace is because it's really fast to set up. The problem is that you are limited with your what you can do for SEO on Squarespace. So so just be warned on that. If you're going to be expanding this to like a national site, so like for instance, say this wasn't just targeting one city, then you'd probably want to use WordPress, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're probably going to want to do around schema markup, like local business markup and stuff. And unfortunately, with Squarespace, they only let you do local business markup like site-wide, which is, 1, not good, because you're only supposed to put local business markup on the homepage, and 2, then you'd have 2 local business markups on one page, one with the the main markup. So that's just one of the many things that is kind of the downfall. However, if you are just targeting like one city, one county, then I would recommend Squarespace, because it is like something that you can build out in like 2 hours. It's pretty easy to streamline. Aaron says, hey Chase, I know this is off topic, but do you still have that Facebook group? I have 2 Facebook groups. I have the Facebook group here, and then I also have the VIP Facebook group for anybody who's bought my course, because I have my videos in that. It's called the White Hat SEO Network. If you text the word SEO to 66866, it'll send you a link. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is once you figure out your CMS. So like I said, if you're going to be going national at some point, I would use WordPress. Otherwise, I would use Squarespace, just because you can build it quickly. However, if you're like really familiar with WordPress and you can build sites out really fast there too, then I don't see why you shouldn't. So step number 3, site creation plus keyword mapping. So what you're going to do for this is you're going to want to figure out basically your architecture, which I listed mine here on this post. It's pretty easy. So the home page would be your main keyword, iPhone repair plus city. And what I'm saying right here, what I said in the beginning was that you can pretty much apply this to anything. So of course, if this would be computer repair or chiropractor or whatever, you would just change this template to target that. So, you know, computer repair plus city name for the home page, because that would be your main keyword, right? You want to target your home page with your most competitive keywords, because that's ideally going to be the page that you're trying to rank your most competitive keywords for, right? Your about page would be, you know, about iPhone repair plus city name. And then, of course, if this wasn't a branded term, I mean, if this wasn't an exact match term, whatever, and your brand just says like about, you know, Todd's iPhone repair, you would just do that, about Todd's iPhone repair plus city name. The advantage is that you just get, you know, if you brand your business as whatever the keywords are that you're targeting, then you get those keywords concurrently occurring on every single page. So that it would be iPhone repair plus city name, iPhone repair plus city name on every single page, which it's nice to be able to have that topical focus on your website by including these keywords basically on every page. So contact, that kind of thing. It's all pretty self-explanatory. You can pretty much just follow these templates. These pages don't really matter as much. Because you're just going to be basically just including your brand name on all of these. It's going to be pretty easy. For the other pages, these are the pages that are going to be more important. I think I cover that coming up here. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, yeah, quick note before we move on to the services. Actually, sorry, we do go over the service right here. So, okay, so if you're going to be doing services, which you should do, meaning you're going to be listing all the different types of services you provide. And honestly, I should have way more than this, but I got lazy after ranking the site and I didn't really care. So what you would want to do is you'd want to do /services/ you know, name of service. I don't know why this wasn't set up like this on WordPress. I think our new web design site got set up like that. I guess I must have forgot here. But ideally, that's how you want your architecture to look, where it would be /services/ name of service. And then if you're going to be going national, you would do /city services, like the name of the city, and then the name of the service, if that makes sense. It might sound a little bit confusing, but I'll try to explain a little bit better. So first of all, you should have your main services page, which I didn't set up here either, so I'm not really giving you guys good examples. But what that does is when you have this main services page, you're going to be internally linking to all of the other pages, right? Oh, I know why I didn't do the silo like that, because I didn't want to make the services page. So ideally, you should have a services page, right, which would lead to the next part of that URL, which it just redirects right now. I'll give you a real world example. So we'll use this guy, SBPC Tech. He's doing a pretty good job on this architecture. So you would go to computer service, and then you'll see right in here, this is going to basically talk about all of the service he offers, which is all in these drop downs, right? And then in the drop downs, you'll see, okay, there's that name of the service, which is really just a keyword you're trying to rank for. So all of these service pages are really just pretty much keywords you're trying to rank for. For instance, your services page would be iPhone repair services, Santa Barbara, or whatever your city is. And what that does is, you know, anybody who types in the word services, they'll find that page. And if they just type in iPhone repair Santa Barbara, then they would find that page. So your services page is not exactly targeting the exact same keywords as your homepage, if that makes sense. You really don't want to be targeting the same keywords with multiple pages, because one page will end up cannibalizing the other, which means that you're not going to be able to rank for both usually. So the next thing is, like, all of these service pages, like I was saying, these are all keywords, right? So if we look at this, you'll see it says tablet repair. So then, of course, the keywords would be tablet repair Santa Barbara. I think I just made it tablet repair here and then put iPhone repair Santa Barbara because I didn't want to put the keyword Santa Barbara twice because it might have looked like keyword stuffing. Of course, you can experiment with this stuff, right? You can index it, submit it to Search Console, and then see if it shows up. And then you can change the title, resubmit it, and pretty fast you'll be able to see whether or not that title made a difference. Let's check this out. Whoa, we got a lot of comments. Squarespeople Squarespace equals not good in my honest opinion. Yeah, so like I said, it's really limited, but if you're just trying to throw something quick together, it's really fast for rank and rent sites, and it's something you can pretty much train anybody on in a couple hours with minimal effort. The part about WordPress is that because there's more, because it's a little bit harder to put together, it's not that much harder, but it is a little bit harder. You're able to do more stuff. But if it's like a local site and the niche is not super competitive, you can use Squarespace to rank really well. NBA Highlight Factory said, when did this start? It just started like 5 minutes ago. Jonathan says, agreed, WordPress all the way, but what do I know? Penoloza says, what's up, Chase? What's up, man? NBA says, where do I find this info? So I'll link to it. I'll also leave the link right now on the comments so you can see it. His blog, Kickstarter, yeah, won't let me share the link. Jonathan, yes, sir. Me either, actually reading his post right now. Okay. Nice to see you, bro. What's up? Chris says, for national, if you sell, say, pools, would your website be Denver pools, or how would you do national? So I think I'd probably have to create an entirely other post just for targeting national, which I might do next. Like if you were to do this, like for instance, like on the large scale, which I tried to start doing with my Reliable Computer Help site, but then when I started getting all these leads for all these people, I had to manage all these people, and it got insane. But ideally, if you're going national, I would go with an actual brand name. That way you can brand the name across multiple locations. And I honestly would not do exact match domains with national. I would only do it with local at this point. And then maybe some other like niche, maybe if it was like for fidget spinners or something. But you can see here I did that sort of thing, and I was targeting areas all around, I think, California. So that's going to be like an entirely other subject. Anyways, so you get your URL path set up, you start getting your service pages going. Now what you're going to want to do is figure out whether or not you want to build these this content. So for the iPhone repair site, a lot of this content I actually like ordered for $5 off of Fiverr, which sounds really cheesy and something I would never do, but it was really fast and it was easy to pretty much correct like some of the text in here, and it was all original content. And the way I check that is I use this thing called Plagiarism Checker, which I link to in here, and you can just run the people's Fiverr content through that, and if it's all unique content, it's not found anywhere else on the internet, you're pretty much golden. The reason why I do it for some of these pages is because some of these pages have like under 10 monthly search rates, but the reason why you want to have these pages is the more internal linking you can do on these different pages usually will help rank your entire site better, especially for your main keywords. Let's see if this page has any page authority right now. What was I going to say? So the alternative route, sorry about that. The alternative route is you can actually hire some like really professional writers. Doesn't look like it has any page authority right now. Off of like writer access, which costs a lot more, but of course, you know, quality content's really important in terms of converting people. I would probably, if you are going to be ranking for keywords that are our services, like for instance, virus removal, that other guy was targeting, has a lot higher searches than like Android repair, which I think has like 10, then I would probably just use the quality content on the most important pages, and then the other pages probably not as much, because most of these people are not going to visit these pages unless they hit it from a search engine. The other thing is that you can just write this content yourself if you want, but if you're going to be trying to build tons of sites like this, then you know that can be pretty time intensive. The only thing I really wouldn't recommend is just straight up scraping the content. All right, so the next thing would be internal link silos. So how I do this is I basically try to find the most important pages on the website in terms of the services, and I'll minimally link to other pages like contact and about randomly. So I don't really have like a method to my madness on like specifically the pages that you should link to, but as a general rule, I always want to link back to the home page with the anchor text matching the main keywords I'm ranking for. And then of course, anytime I'm internally linking to other service pages, I would be using the same anchor text I'm trying to rank those pages for, if that makes sense. And then, of course, you can just link to the other pages like reviews and stuff. I don't really have a rule on when you should do that. One of the things that I will say is that I try not to go overboard on the internal linking, because the more internal links you put in here usually dilutes the value of the next link. So it's kind of important to try not to do like 50 internal links per page. The other thing is that the higher up these links are, usually the more link juice they pass. There's all these weird things, but if you can link 2 to 3 times internally per page, per about 500 to 1,000 words, and 1 to 2 times externally to other relevant websites, you should be good to go. And I talk about this a little bit more in this article, but if you really want to see some crazy stuff, I actually did a 2-hour video of me doing internal link silos about a couple months ago for one of my clients, and actually helped them rank locally like on the first page within a couple weeks after doing it, or it was like maybe a week. So step 5 is schema markup. I have 2 YouTube tutorials for this. I have the basic schema markup, and I think this is just with a WordPress plugin, and then advanced schema markup, where you can do use something called Schema App, and then also do your own custom schema and copy the schema that I use on my sites. But I even say here, regardless of schema markup, you're going to want to list your name, address, and phone number, especially if you're local, on the footer of your site or in the sidebars. I'm unfortunately not doing that, but I'm at least doing that on the homepage right here, which is important. But ideally, you'd want to put it in the footer. The other thing is, if you're using Squarespace, they have a setting where you can just fill out all your business info, and they'll just automatically schema up your site with local business markup. The only problem with Squarespace, like we were talking about earlier with the limited functionalities, is that you can't use specific type of markup. Like, for instance, if I wanted to use like electronic repair shop, which would probably be better for schema versus just local business markup, which is really general, you can't do that because they don't give you the option, and they're automatically going to pull the schema markup they put in that you put your business information onto the site, so you can't take that off, which is unfortunate. Oh, Chris just donated another $10. Thanks, man. All right, let's go through here. We got what theme should I get at Squarespace? Doesn't really matter, just whatever you want. Jonathan says his virus removal works. Oh yeah, Jonathan got a virus last night on our Hangout, and apparently he helped him fix his computer. Kyle says, what's up, Chase? Is it worth adding sub-service menus under the main services dropdown? So yeah, I would always internally link to any pages that you're trying to rank. From the menu, right? So your services should have a drop down to your, of course, sub-services. If you have like Android repair and then there's like different types and you have another drop down, I don't think that's too harmful. It just, from a usability standpoint, it can start to get kind of confusing. And it's talking about user experience standpoint. I can't even see this text right here. So there are a lot of problems with this site, but it is ranking. So that's the funny thing is, your site just has to be good enough to rank. It doesn't have to be insanely good. It just has to be a little bit better than everybody else, right? Aaron says, drop a like for my man Chase, always helping people. Thanks, Aaron. Let's at least get him up to the number of how many people are watching this awesome content. Jonathan says, woohoo, just closed another site build. Thanks for the motivation. Nice, man. Jonathan's killing it right now. All right, let's go to the next one. So you got your internal link styles going. You got your content going. One note that I forgot to say about the content is you're going to want to try to get as much. Oh, maybe I did say this. I'll just repeat it. For the services, you're going to want to try to target as many things as you do as possible. So if you can get like Android repair, tablet repair, Samsung repair, or say you were like a chiropractor or something, you could list all the different types of like services you offer and have pages for those. It's going to really help you because you're going to have more pages to rank for, more pages to internally link from, and more topical relevance throughout the entire website. One of the things that I didn't put in here, which I forgot to put in this article, was that you're also probably going to want to make related location pages. And why you do that is so that you can rank for other locations in your city. So there was a time a while ago when I was ranking for SEO in my city, I was trying to rank for all these other locations, and we can see if they're up. I think this one's somewhat competitive. So yeah, right there, boom, ranking there. SEO, let's try Oxnard. And I was like #1 for a lot of these for a while. Okay, see on the first page for that one. I was even like on the first page for Beverly Hills at some point. Let's see, like solving. So all of these are different landing pages. Like, see this one? These are all different landing pages, right? Specifying information about the area. And this is really minimally done. All I did was just take the Google Maps estimation on how long the drive was from my location and put it in there with link silos. So this is actually pretty sketchy what I was doing, but this was when I first started doing SEO, and hey, I was getting these pages ranking. So all I'm trying to say is, like, if you look at like what this guy's doing as well, you'll see he's only targeting, or he's targeting Santa Barbara with his computer repair site, but he also creates these other landing pages, which is what you should do if you're trying to get traffic, because all of these other areas are going to provide somewhat of a search rate, even if they're small cities inside your county, right? So that's really important to do. Also, like I said, gives you the ability to internally link, and then you also have all of these related cities within your site. All right, let's go to the next one. Oops. Okay, so after we scheme up our site, you're going to want to set up analytics, search console, conversion tracking, rank tracking. If you guys don't know how to do this stuff, if you go to this post, you'll see I have a tutorial for online conversion tracking and offline conversion tracking. The reason why you want to use these things is so that you can measure your ROI, and so that you can see where you're bringing in most of your conversions from and from what channels and all that kind of good stuff. So it's really important to do this stuff, and it doesn't take too much time to do. And offline conversion tracking is really cheap. I think it's like 20 bucks a month, and it's totally worth it. And then for rank tracking, I use something called SEO Profiler, which I have a tutorial for here. You can use whatever you want, like Ahrefs, SEMrush, whatever. There's some free tools out there as well I don't really use. So set up Google My Business and optimize. So this is probably the most important thing you're going to want to do, because your main KPI, key performance indicator, is going to usually be the map. That's where you're probably going to get most of your traffic from, or your calls. So if you're going to be doing iPhone repair, you would just choose a category, electronic repair shop, and then you're going to want to take tons of pictures of your location, your services, like broken iPhones, that kind of thing, your team, quote unquote, and then you're going to want to change those file URLs so they match what those pictures are about. The reason why you do this is Google actually compares how many images you have with your competitors. Like, they literally say it in your report in Google My Business. They'll say in the analytics, they'll say how many photos you have versus your competitors. So that's clearly something that they're looking for. And I've noticed that by just adding like tons of pictures to a listing, it's helped rank rankings. And it's something where a lot of people, they just add like a couple images and they don't do anything. I've also noticed that if you add location images, they will usually show that location, and they'll be able to find out that it's the picture of the location, usually from the file URL and what category you uploaded under. And I think that they use that as a ranking factor, whether or not there's pictures of the location. So even if you're using a service area, I would still try to find, like, I remember when I was in my garage, I was taking pictures of plants and stuff and saying like inside a business location. So the next thing is start generating reviews. Now this is extremely important. We'll get to that in a second. But before we do, we're going to talk about building out citations and getting set up on main local indexing platforms. So what you do for this is, I use this guy called Citation Builder Pro, and I usually never share this, but I just stopped caring because too many people are messaging me, asking me for the link, and I just wasn't, I didn't really care about PayPaling, invoicing everybody for $5. It wasn't worth it to me. But this guy's really good, and it's all legit. So I would spend about $60 on this, get like 90 citations. He does generic, niche, and local, hyperlocal citations, which is really important. And then afterwards, if you don't feel like optimizing all of your main local indexing platforms, which you can find out at Moz Local, I would just buy the $80 subscription and have Moz do it for you. Especially if you're going to be doing tons of these sites, or you have clients, you know, a lot of clients that are local. So now that we've talked about that, what you're going to want to do is your review generation strategy. Now, I do this a couple ways. Oh, Jonathan just donated 20 bucks. Thanks, man. Sweet. God, you guys are donating to me to my stream like every time now. This is sick. All right, so for the review generation strategy, like I was saying, I use a couple techniques. I was going to showcase one of my clients, but I don't really want to say which client it is because this is kind of a gray area. But one of my clients I actually got about 72 reviews for just from their friends on Facebook. So I just asked them, hey, can you send me your login info for Facebook? I'm going to set up some reviews for you from your friends. They said it's fine. And then I would message about 10 to 20 people a day on his Facebook profile, or actually I paid somebody to do it, and get about 3 or 4 reviews a day. You don't really want to go over that number because once you start getting too many reviews in a day, Google can start to flag you, and then you can get your entire business removed. So I try to shoot for like 2 to 3 or maybe 4 at the most reviews a day. What you would use to get these reviews going is you take a short link from a tool called Plepper. So if we go to Plepper and we go to Tools, they have a Google review link generator, and you can just plug your business in here. They'll give you a link for an auto 5-star review, which is what I send to pretty much everybody, and that's how I've actually been able to generate close to 145 5-star reviews for my own business. So in any industry, even if you're not local, I would consider setting up a Google My Business just so you can do a review generation, because there's a lot you can do with reviews as well and turn them into testimonials, help conversion rates, and then also you can schema these reviews on your site and show aggregate rating in the search results. So we could talk about that later, but I actually used a different method. So I didn't really message any friends for these reviews. What I did is I started generating reviews off of Facebook group members, and this is kind of one of those tips that I try to tell a lot of people that they can do because it's something that works really well. So instead of targeting like your customers, you would be targeting your people who visit your site and read your stuff and listen to the stuff that you give away for free, that kind of thing. Because usually when people are paying for your services, they're less likely to leave a review because they've already paid. But if you're giving free stuff away, like the stuff I give here, and then I ask people in the Facebook group for a review, they're way more likely to leave a review. So like I could even ask you guys right now, if you could do me a favor, go to Google and Google Chase Finder SEO, and then click on write a review and leave me a review if you could. I'm kind of just using that as an example. If you guys did want to do that, that'd be cool. But the chances are you guys would be more willing to leave me a review like that versus me going into my clients' spreadsheets and like, oh, I'm going to go email all my clients right now and ask them for reviews. It takes a lot more work, which is why so many people have such a hard time getting reviews built for their business. And this is something that you really don't want to overlook because, in my opinion, reviews are about 20% even more of the algorithm for the local map pack. So yeah, it's really important to get this review generation strategy going. I also note here that you can, of course, use phone numbers, etc., email lists, that kind of thing. Not for your clients, but for your fans. So like, for instance, say you guys signed up for my Facebook group over here and I got your email. That's why I get emails. I could also message my email list and ask them for a review as well. So anywhere where you're controlling the traffic, you're going to be way more likely to get reviews. And I don't think there's anything unethical about that because these people actually probably know better than your customers whether or not your stuff is legit because you're talking about it, you're teaching it, right? So step number 10 is competitive link building. So I actually have an example of that Reliable Computer Help site. I just plugged one of my competitors when I was SEOing for this into a free tool called Backlink Watch before I could afford Ahrefs, which if you have Ahrefs, it's better because you get better link data. But if you don't have the money, you just get Backlink Watch, plug their domain in. It'll show you the links they have. And then what I did is I just found a couple really good links that from local sites. I just messaged the people on the site, and they linked to this site. And that helped a lot. I think I shot up a couple rankings after that. I would try not to spend too much time doing manual link building, but I would try to look at your competitors' links, top 4 or 5, and see if you can snipe any of those. I also have a video on this too. I have a video on pretty much all of this stuff if you go into this post. So the other thing is I'd start pushing out social signals on Buffer, which is like a $10 subscription. What you can do is you can just take all of the reviews that you got and you can just pretty much just put them on repeat, showcasing them all on different social media platforms. The biggest thing is that you're active on these platforms, especially Google Plus and Facebook, because Google actually looks at this stuff, and Twitter would probably be important too. But with Google Plus, Google actually started showing some of the updates that people make on Google. So I really do think this is important. And the last part is to, if you'd like to, follow the 7-part series I made on YouTube of all the different things I do for local SEO, because there's a lot that I couldn't put in this post because they're really specific tips. Like, for instance, using these testimonials here to help improve conversion rates. The other thing would be like these videos that I've bought off Fiverr, which are like quick animation sketches, which also help boost dwell times, reduce bounce rates, which is the same thing, sorry, improve conversion rates, that kind of thing. And then also improve the value of the page in terms of SEO, I believe. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff, extra stuff that I do. And if you want to watch any of that stuff, I would just head over to that playlist. So that's it for that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the what's it called? The chat or the Hangout, if anybody wants to join and talk about things. So let me just go here. Oh. All right. Do you like drop-down menus, or do you go to services page and then silos to link to service areas? Do you mean drop-down menus within the content? Or go to services pages and silo into the service areas? Are you talking about from the menu? I'm not really sure what you're asking there, Chris. Damn, Citation Builder Pro doesn't support NZ. Looks real good though. Sorry, man. Chris, probably drop-downs have worked best so far for me. 15K, check your emails, bro. I don't know what 15K is. Whoops. What is $10 and $20 stuff? Oh, those are the people who donated with Super Chat. Supple is an Aussie site. Supple is an Aussie site that generates 5-star review links also. I couldn't get Plepper working for me, but it worked. This worked fine. Nice. There's also a way you can do it with just coding the URL, because the code you can pretty much make yourself. So you could pretty much just copy what they put in a different URL and just replace your map listing URL with it, I believe. Except the short link wouldn't work, I don't think. It's called Super Chat, just showing appreciation to the wizard. Thanks, man. Ben says, I'm a 17-year-old SEO. I just want to quickly thank you for all the solid content, dude. I'm slowly starting to build out my agency, and I love just watching your audits and learning something new. Thanks, Ben. Glad I can help. We got Chris in the house. What's good, man? Oh, Chris just left. By the way, all of you guys are welcome to join at this point. I just posted a link in the chat. Probably posted on the Facebook group too. Just post it here. Okay, well, while we're waiting, could start talking about the next post. What's up, Chris? Or also Jonathan?
Hello.
How goes it?
It goes pretty well.
Right on. What's the news? How goes it? Goes pretty well. Right on. What's the news? We got a little bit of echo going on. I don't know. Yo, Shane's in the house.
What's up, Jake?
What's good, man? I see you got a green screen behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, Shane's in the house. Hold on, we got an echo going. I don't know who.
That's me. Hang on just a second. Let me fix that.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on, we got an echo going. I don't know who. What's up, everybody else? What's up, I need to know your real name, man, because it's really hard to pronounce.
It's AC Penaloza.
AC Penaloza. That's still a little hard to pronounce.
Yeah, no, I gotta change it. Alex, you can call me Alex.
All right. What's going on, Alex?
Chilling.
So what'd you guys think about the video?
It's good stuff. As always, solid.
Nice.
So you really do use Squarespace? You don't like WordPress?
No, I like WordPress, but the thing is like if you're ranking a site locally and it's not super competitive, you really don't need to use WordPress in most situations. But I've been able to pretty much eyeball it at this point and see like, okay, I can see that this is going to be something really easy to rank for. With like, for instance, if I was trying to target like iPhone repair in San Diego, I would maybe be more inclined to use a WordPress site because all the things that you can do in WordPress, like for instance, be more specific with the schema markup and that sort of stuff, that's going to give you a little bit of a competitive edge versus Squarespace, where it's like if you're limited in terms of like not really being able to specify canonicals and maybe you'd have to do stuff like that. Like there's a lot that you know, as you progress and you try to become more and more geared towards ranking for an area that's really hard to rank for, you're going to want to be able to use those extra competitive advantages.
Gotcha.
But like in most situations, like you don't need to use like electronic repair shop schema as your like 0.5% boost on your SEO just to rank when you could pretty much just rank with like a one-page site on Squarespace because it's so easy.
Right. And then do you put schema on every page, but you just put the business schema on the home page?
So that's the problem with Squarespace. It puts it on every page. What you're supposed to do is just have local business markup for the home page. And then the service pages, if you were using WordPress, you can actually mark up with product markup, which doesn't really make sense because they're services, but there is no service markup right now. So you can, for instance, say like Android repair. You could mark up that page with product markups called Android repair, and then you could also mark it up with reviews as long as those are showing on the page and have aggregate rating show underneath that service. So if you were ranking for Android repair as well as iPhone repair, and say that had 30 searches, you'd show up in the search results with a aggregate rating like 5 stars or whatever it is, which will help improve your click-through rate. So like there's a lot that you can do to like kind of game it, but with like I said, with Squarespace you can't really do that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So do you typically use like the organization?
Did Chris?
I think he cut out.
That was about to be a really good question, I think.
Probably so. You usually got some good ones.
Well, we can wait for it. Well, one of the things I'll say while we're waiting is also if you're using Squarespace, because they use the same markup on every page, and then say you do decide you want to do product markup on a service page, because there's 2 types of markup there, one of them is probably going to overlap, and if they do overlap, you're not going to be able to show the other markup.
Okay. What about, so do you have any WordPress websites?
Yeah, well, I mean, my chaseryder.com is a WordPress. The reliablecomputerhelp.com is a WordPress site.
Have you ever heard of a plugin or something that will take all your Facebook reviews or comments and put them on the website? And then like when somebody wants to leave a review, they have to do it through Facebook. I don't know if that could be beneficial because it just takes out one spot and only makes them go to one spot. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, so I don't know, like, so anytime you do that automatic sort of thing, there's positives and negatives. If you're just doing it just to showcase your testimonials, I think there is like a plugin for that. But the problem is like, if you're going to be showcased, so are you doing this in the purpose of like schema, or are you just talking about just putting reviews on a page?
I guess a little of both, to be honest.
Yeah, so I mean with schema, the thing is like, okay, so say you wanted to put 50 reviews as your markup for a product page. You would want to take those reviews and list those on that page. So
Right.
if you're showing the same reviews on every single page, that's going to start showing up as duplicate content for one, and not really provide any value to that page where you'd be showing like all of the reviews just for that sort of service.
Okay.
But in other scenarios, it might be okay. Like if the reviews are
like if they're a one service company, like bow fishing, like I could do it because it's only going to be one page with reviews on it.
right. Yeah. So I mean, well, the thing is you can mark up your pages in different ways. So like you can mark up with review markup for just straight review markup, like that's a type. You can do product markup. You can do local business markup with reviews. I think that's pretty much it. But there are different ways to mark up like your pages. Like it doesn't have to be like a product. Like you can mark up the individual reviews as well. Like you can mark up one review and then mark up the next review, which actually doesn't show the star ratings. So the problem with schema is that it can get pretty confusing.
Right.
And if you're going to be just showcasing all of your reviews on one page, that's fine. But like what I was trying to say is like if you wanted to take, for instance, half of the reviews because they're about fishing, and then half of the reviews because they're about like boating or something, I don't know.
Right.
Then you would probably want to put both of those on separate pages and mark them up separately because those are 50 reviews on each page.
Right.
If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Hey, Chase, I've got a question.
Shoot.
Hey, have you ever used like landing pages, like ClickFunnels and things like that? Can you rank those sites?
Yeah. So in terms of ranking them, I know you can get them indexed and you can use them like on Google that like get them indexed on Google.
Right.
I don't know if you'd want to use that as like a page to try to rank. So the short answer is yeah, you can rank them. I haven't tried ranking them, and then I do use ClickFunnels. I was actually talking about this in a post today about how I pretty much recommend like getting some sort of landing page created for pretty much any site, whether it be ClickFunnels or Instapage or whatever you use.
Right.
Because all of those pages are usually going to help you increase your conversion rates, and you're going to want to be able to send people somewhere on your site when you're talking about something. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'd want to rank it though.
Well, I use paid traffic to go to those landing pages. So I was just thinking that would be like, since there's a lot of traffic going there, that maybe it could help my website or rank that web page easily.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people talk about that, like how some people think like AdWords and having all that traffic to a page is going to help it rank. I personally like think Google's smart enough to know not to use that as a ranking factor.
Right.
If you get branding out of it and people end up finding like for instance, say a bunch of people find a product that they really like, and then the user intent is to find that product on a Google search, and then you end up getting recognized as like an entity around that subject, and I think, yeah, that would probably help you rank. But I think anything that comes from AdWords is going to be an indirect ranking factor.
Right. Okay.
I had a conversation about this with a guy that spends $25 a day on AdWords. And it makes total sense for Google not really to rank him because he's spending $25 a day if Google doesn't rank him, you know?
Right.
Well,
I see that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I was gonna say, well, that, and also there's like been a lot of apparent like lawsuits around like people thinking that it's unfair that Google, people can pay Google for rankings and stuff, that kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, I think, like I said, I think Google's kind of knows not to use that as a ranking factor, because that is kind of lame. Now, one of the things you can look at is if you have like a 10 out of 10 quality score, meaning your page is extremely relevant. There's high click-through rates for the title, which you could use for your search or for your organic title as well. And I think there's one other metric, I forget what it is. But basically, if you have a 10 out of 10 quality score, you could pretty much use that to kind of get an idea on what your somewhat of an idea on what you could do organically.
See, I don't even use Google AdWords for clicks to the website. I use social media, so Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Oh, you're saying like, okay, so you're saying like social traffic to a website page.
Right.
Well, then we'd have to get in the debate of social signals, and then we'd have to get in the debate of paid social signals.
Right.
Because if we look at it from this way, some people still don't even think social signals are a ranking factor, which I think I'm under the impression that they definitely are, because I've done a lot of experimenting with them, and it seems like, if you get like 300, or 3,000 upvotes on Reddit on a picture, you're going to be pretty much featured in the image results. So I think it definitely does have a factor, but
it definitely does. That same guy, he just put some money into Facebook, and now it's about a month later, and he's got 3 pages on, three keywords on the first page. It definitely gave him a huge boost just from the social signals.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like likes and stuff like that. I'm talking about actual traffic. So I usually like I'm working for a mobile home manufacturer guy. He sells mobile homes, and I probably sent, I don't know, a couple thousand people to the website, to his landing page, not to his website. He don't have a website. All he has is a landing page and Facebook, Facebook page.
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm trying to rank his landing page though at the same time that I'm, using all this paid traffic,
Right. So to me, it's like the problem with this kind of stuff is like, whenever we get into these gray areas on like, okay, well, does this stuff really make a difference? I think, perhaps it does, but I think the bigger question is like, should this be used as a strategy? And I think in this situation, probably not. I would probably focus on other things first before perhaps like, selling social signals as a service or something. In terms of like how much money maybe somebody would have to spend in order to like rank a site from social signals, I also don't know if that would be a very good metric to measure by.
I'm actually charging a monthly fee just to manage their Facebook ads. Over the last 6 months, I've taken some courses. Before that, I was doing SEO, and I started taking courses and actually doing Facebook ads to generate business for companies, and I'm doing very well at it.
Right.
I got one company like 300 customers in 2 days. So,
right.
But I was just wondering, I'm still following you on the SEO, and I figured that I can maybe use both. If I can use SEO to get them 1 or 2 more customers, that's great. I don't think I can get them the kind of customers that I'm getting through paid traffic, through SEO, because it's local, it's all local SEO or local traffic.
Yeah. So I think the thing is here is like, regardless of whether or not social signals are a ranking factor, there's always going to be something that you should probably end up doing for the SEO part of things.
Right.
I think social signals is probably the last thing you'd want to worry about. In terms of whether or not you could sell that maybe as like a combined service where you're like doing ads, but at the same time it's like indirectly helping SEO.
Right.
Of course you could say that, but in the end, I think they are 2 different beasts. And
right.
If you are going to end up selling SEO as well, you're probably going to want to sell some sort of like, on-page optimization package and, review generation strategy sort of thing, where it's going to be a little bit more geared towards Google.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't do somebody's SEO without charging them for it. I did that for a long time. Was charging way too little for SEO and spending way too much time on it, to get them ranked.
Right.
And so there's no way that I would just throw it in with social media advertising.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it comes down to, what do you really want to focus on? Because I think we talked about this last night, is like, you can focus on all these different things, but the more you try to specialize in or you try to deliver on, and you're just like, say you're just a one-person team, things start to get really complicated. And the problem with SEO these days is it's all omni-channel usually. If you want to rank really well, you should be able to, of course, build your brand through social, through paid, through, unpaid, through content marketing, all that stuff. But unfortunately, most people, if they have 5 businesses, it's impossible to do all of that stuff as one person for everyone. So I think, being in the ads, Facebook ads part of things right now is probably a really good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you know somebody that does that. I mean, I pay a lot of money to learn how to do that stuff, but I'm doing really good with it, so it was worth it.
Right.
Now, Chase, do you think that AdWords is like too competitive, or I mean, for service businesses, or I mean, is there still a place for AdWords?
I think in a lot of areas that AdWords are really underutilized for local. Personally in my own town, like, there's a lot of people who, even if they are doing AdWords, they're not doing them very well. A lot of people, they'll just set up their AdWords campaign, set up like one ad with, maybe a couple broad match keywords, negative keyword matching, none of that stuff. Maybe get like a 4 out of 10 quality score. And then, you could easily go in and, start doing like location extensions, call extensions, text extensions, like product extensions. Like, you could even do like all the call out extensions, like all that stuff that are going to help improve the quality score and the click-through rates, and then in turn improve your ad rank, which is going to lower the average CPC and higher your position. So to answer your question, locally, I think that there is still a huge amount of opportunity, because it seems like a lot of people don't know what they're doing. In terms of like national and stuff, I still see tons of opportunities. So it also depends on the niche you're in, because, like, of course, if you're targeting lawyers, it's gonna be $400 for one click.
Yeah.
Well, the problem that I've found with AdWords is that every marketer that wants to sell any kind of advertising will go to Google and search, and they'll click on those ads, and it costs you money just for them to try to sell you some more advertising.
Yeah, there's actually a service out there. I think somebody just emailed me pitching it for me to do a review on it the other day. And what they do is they actually have software that detects bots and fake clicking. And I think Alex probably knows a little bit about this stuff, because he's in PPC full time. Which, yeah, that's what their main job is, to save you money, and especially for big corporations who are spending thousands of dollars on AdWords every month.
Yeah. Dude, you know what I'm running into? A lot of people don't really want a website anymore, because they just use Facebook. Like, I see it moving over to everybody just using Facebook for their business.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like those are the same people who don't believe that SEO exists.
This is very true, actually. The same people that say, I just throw up a website and I'm going to rank. I know I can rank. I ranked 5 years ago by just throwing it up. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the problem is like, look, most people don't agree with something until they see if it works or not. And so a lot of the people who say that SEO doesn't work either had a really negative experience, or they just haven't really gotten any traffic off of Google. If they did, then their opinion would be different, which is why some people actually give SEO away for free for like the first month or two, and then end up getting like full-time lifetime clients, which to me sounds a little sketchy. Is like, that's a lot of time you're giving away for free. But I know this works really well in the AdWords industry, is you can get the pay-per-lead model going. I met this one guy named Darren Perkins or something. He's supposedly making like $1 million net per month, or gross, something like that, off of his pay-per-lead models. He only targets lawyers, and what he does is he charges, I think, $300 to $500 per lead, and he pays for all the advertising. The lawyers don't. Right. And so what he does, he finds really low CPC networks, or does SEO, and ends up getting these people like, I don't know, 5 to 10 leads a week, but it's for all these different lawyers for like, years. And, the value of $500 times, say it's like 30 or 40 clients per month, it's a lot of money.
Yes. And you think he does that just by optimizing his AdWords correctly?
No, so he was talking about what he does. He actually wants to come onto the channel for an interview. We were talking about it. And he actually just hits on like all 3 major networks. He hits on AdWords, he does SEO, and he does social media. And he doesn't charge anything up front. He just gets them to sign a contract, says, hey, look, we're going to get you on here for like 3 to 6 months. We're going to because $500 a lead to lawyers is worth it to them, because one lead can pay out to like, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
So he just, does it all on his own, without charging anything. And then once the leads start coming in, he gets paid.
You remember how you, I originally found you by your rank and rent sites. And
oh, really?
Do you think that it's worth it to try and go buy a good keyword that has to do with lawyers, like bankruptcy law? Because I stumbled upon that domain and it was open, so I bought it. I don't know if I should try and pursue it. I'm sure I won't get anywhere with it.
Okay, so you mean like leveraging the EMD?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the EMDs are apparently no longer a ranking factor, so I don't think you'd be able to get much mileage out of it for that purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, but like in terms of the rank and rent, whether that's profitable or not, it's like, the thing is like, the cool thing is, if with rank and rent, say you want to just sell the site to somebody afterwards, it's so much easier to rank your own sites because you can do whatever you want.
Right.
Like I could rank pretty much for most niches locally, assuming that the area is not extremely competitive, pretty fast, like within 2 to 3 months, and with basically all white hat. But the problem is like, if you get these domains going, I've tried to sell my own domains, like my iPhone repair site, and people didn't want to buy it because it's not under their brand.
Yeah. But they wouldn't buy it just for the leads?
Well, apparently not. I don't know. Maybe just the people in my town are very smart. They're like, we can get leads off of Yellow Pages for $100.
Another question. Do you do like Yelp, Yellow Pages, all of that for your local businesses?
No, I absolutely hate Yelp. I'm still, I need to just pay them, because what ended up happening is they actually gave me a coupon for one of my businesses for like $300, and I used it, and then like later found out that they still charged me like $300, and now they're like opening up a payment dispute with me. But anyways, yeah, I basically hate Yelp. So in terms of whether or not the ads are effective, from when I've used them, they have been in certain niches. In terms of whether or not you should optimize these pages and rank for them, I would say definitely, because Google actually looks at Yelp and Facebook pages now. And they look at them more so in certain industries than other industries. So like, for instance, Yelp might be more important on iPhone repair niches, because Google can tell that there's a lot of people looking for iPhone repair, Yelp or that kind of thing.
Okay.
The tree service I ran, we got a lot of business through Yelp, and got, we did well through Yelp. But that's here in the DC area, so I don't know, in other areas it might be different.
Right.
So do they still, are Facebook pages still ranking easily? I mean, I used to rank my Facebook page along with my website pretty easy.
Yeah, actually, I got a comment from somebody yesterday, I think, and they were like, dude, I can't outrank this Facebook page that my competitor has. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely still use those. I don't know how many people use that as a strategy. I would either way go for Google first in terms of trying to rank on the map, and then maybe Facebook. I don't know if getting reviews on Facebook is going to help drive authority. Maybe just like getting a lot of engagement. So that could be something, Shane, where if you're getting a lot of engagement on your post from the ads and then you rank the Facebook page, that might be an interesting study.
Right. You know, that's how I did that one for that maid service that I was telling you about over in Gun Barrel. She didn't have a website, so I just ranked her Facebook page, and that's what I did. Is I got her the local citations and used the Facebook page as the as her website. You know, I mean, just put that in there as her website, and I mean, it ranked very well, very fast, like within 3 weeks.
I wonder what would happen if you got citations for a website, but then you also did that same thing with citations to a Facebook page.
Well, if the phone number is the same, they'll want it to show up as a duplicate.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So you'd have to have a separate phone number, you know?
Yeah, you'd have to have separate citations just for the Facebook page.
Right. Right.
That'd be so funny, though.
I tell you what, I had my tree service when I was over in Bullard. By the way, I've given that to my kids, but when I was over in Bullard, I had like the whole page, like eight spots out of 10 or something like that. I had it filled up, but I had Facebook and YouTube and everything on the first page. You know, I mean, it was pretty funny. I didn't leave no room for any of my other guys or my competitors.
They were just pissed. Oh man. All right. Well, what else, guys? I always never know what to say in these things. I feel like I should start structuring these with like certain elements. Like, okay, now we've reached the 30-minute mark. Now we talk about this.
Yeah, you got your radio skills, man. I thought you said you used to do that.
Radio? Oh, I used to interview people on a podcast, but it's a lot weirder when you got like 5 people.
And it's random.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Chris. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, what's
Yes.
up, man?
Okay. Hey, I just got a question for you. You know, was looking at your Reliable Computer Help website and going to your SEO page, you know, I was kind of wondering your ideas when you're doing your structuring. So it says like California locations, and then it would have like SEO, Santa Barbara County, things like that. Is there any pros or cons? Because I see sometimes a SEO place, they'll do like, say, their company name. So it's theirwebsite.com / you know, Dallas, Texas SEO. Was there a certain reason why you went with California locations and then the location compared to just doing reliablecomputerhelp.com / you know, Oxnard SEO?
Yeah, so I mean, what I was trying to do is I was actually trying to make the site worldwide. And so for that, what I was doing is I was actually doing United States and then California and then the city locations. I don't know now. I don't know what would be the best URL path for it, the best URL architecture, because as you go down the URL path, you're apparently diluting the value of like the next level down. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but if you are going to be targeting, like for instance, say you're just targeting like California, I do think that you would probably want to use the URL path California and then the cities within that, versus just having the city after the URL, because it's really hard to start, like once you get to a certain point, it's really hard to organize all these different URLs when they're all just pointing to just one level down, and it doesn't really make sense to Google either if there's all these different pages and everything's one level down.
So do you recommend, instead of having like, say in the YouTube video, I was asking you about the services. I noticed in your video, you had like services as a drop down. And I see some people talk about not using a drop down and actually having it where, you know, when you click on services, it takes you to the services page. And then from there, you might select the service that somebody wants. Do you find that drop downs, you know, take away from your SEO, or does it still, you know, work pretty good?
Wait, say again why you would think that the services drop down would take away from it?
Well, maybe it's, in terms of, so instead of for the, the breadcrumbs, instead of saying like, yourwebsite.com/, your services, sometimes I've seen people even, they do the thing where they do the 301 redirect from like a blog category. So maybe your blog category is SEO, but you also have a page of SEO. And so they kind of do some weird stuff. So instead of having a drop down where maybe somebody misses your entire services page and goes to the service, then,
oh yeah. No, it's weird. I have so many people ask me about this. Like, I used to have this one client where she was like super paranoid that nobody would click on her services. They would only click on the actual service pages. They wouldn't click on the services, like, tab for the drop down, right? And I think most people know to click on that. If not, like, if you really wanted to be like extra careful, you could actually like do a second drop down where the first one's clickable, but you also have another one that says all services, in that drop down. I really, yeah.
Because I didn't know if it's something like a silo structure. So if you have like, if you have your silo and one silo is super heavy with your services, so you go to your services and you got 12 services, but then you go to like your about page and you have like, maybe one silo is going to like your company information, one's going to like your president or whatever. So it's really silo heavy for your services. Is that typically kind of bad where it's better to have just a one click down and then just going to each service separately instead of having one main, service area?
Okay, so I think I know what you're saying. So like instead of having the services page, you would just have all the services, right? And instead of having like all those internal links going to the services and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think personally, I've seen myself having the services page with the silos going from the services page to the services is really important because you have that services page to pretty much show that the next level down is all the services. So from a usability standpoint, it makes a lot of sense because if somebody's going to be Googling, for instance, company name services, and they see all your different services, then they're going to want to click into those different services from that page. If that
Gotcha. Absolutely. And I got one kind of odd question just throw it out there. Maybe, anybody here might be able to answer. So, I kind of, a lot of people that I work with is kind of, people that, like I basically have to explain to them what SEO even is. And so like, it's kind of a challenge. And so I'm setting up like a Google My Business. I noticed now that Google My Business gives you the opportunity to build a website. I know it's pretty cheesy. It's pretty lame. And they even give you like a your website dot whatever weird thing it is. So the two-part question I have is, one, do you think there's going to be anything with the Google My Business websites that'll like outrank other ones because they're Google property? And then two, I've bought some Google domains before. Do you believe there's any kind of hidden like search ranking factors if you buy your domains through Google?
Yeah, those are interesting questions. I mean, I don't know. I know I've seen like before people rank like a Google sheet like #1 for like plumbing before, like it was just like a Google page or something. But of course they had like 100 PBN links built to that page. For the actual domains under Google, are they going to help more than other websites? I don't think so. I wouldn't use those things as strategies. I would use what works instead of maybe spending time doing that. Unless you have a lot of time for experimenting, and you want to be able to see maybe if there's like a 3 to 5% difference or something. I don't think it's going to be like everybody who builds a site on Google's platforms is going to automatically just outrank everybody.
Yeah, no, and I definitely, it's kind of just more of like a case study, like you have just small micro things where if they say, well, if you have an SSL, that's 1%. If you have a Google domain, that's another 1%, just small things that add up, just kind of, testing things out. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if anything, you might get a small amount of leverage because of the domain authority. But, I mean, John Mueller has been coming out and saying that domain authority doesn't even matter. So, I don't know. I would much rather go with like a really nice brand name, trying to rank under something like that. And if you're doing local, probably go for like an exact match domain for the branding purposes of being able to try to rank for a brand that has those keywords. I think honestly also, since we're moving more into user experience these days, I don't think most people want to go to like a weird .google website because it's not very customizable. It just doesn't sound like a good thing. I think those are the type of things where you'd probably, if you were somewhat black hat, you'd want to probably use those as your advantage to, you know, help boost your PBN links like I've seen. If you're white hat, I would much rather go for the authority, because really what it's about these days, in my opinion, is three things. It's about building authority, it's about building for user intent, and user experience.
Absolutely. And I do got one last thing, and could you touch base on a little bit earlier? When you're talking about your schema markups for a local business versus a national business. So unfortunately, I have some national businesses, and it's one of those things where it's really hard for me. So I'm really hoping that you do create a national kind of video, just because there's so many different strategies in my eyes. So instead of just, you know, like I'm in Colorado, so instead of doing something where it's like Colorado based, now I'm kind of focusing nationwide, and it's really difficult for me, at least. Is it one of those things where you're doing the schema markup? Is that where you're wanting to do more of the organization markup compared to the local business?
Yeah, actually, and I did a tutorial for like the advanced side of things and what you'd be doing for more of a national approach. I did a video on that. And yeah, for the homepage, you would be using hopefully organization markup, unless your homepage is representing a local business. And then I actually, in my recent post I did a WordPress SEO tips post. I actually go into detail about how I use schema, what plugins I use, how to mark up your images, and how to mark up your contact page, your about page, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I noticed in one of your videos you use some of the, I don't know if it's like the WPSSO or the WSSO, whatever it is, but it seems like you have to add one plugin, then another plugin adds, it's like a whole group of plugins, so you end up having like 4 of them all together to all kind of talk to each other. Does that really kind of weigh down your website, or does it really kind of help because it adds the information to like your knowledge graph and things like that?
Yeah, well, the problem is, and I'm sorry for not saying hi to the new visitors, one of them just left. I'm going to say hi to Michelle. Hi, Michelle. What I was going to say is the problem is that with the different plugins, all of them do different things. Like, because some of the plugins are limited in the capabilities. Like, for instance, with one of the plugins, you can't do like breadcrumbs markup, which you need the other plugin to do. So yeah, I mean, in terms of it weighing down the site, I don't think they're going to hurt it that much, because a lot of it's just like dynamically placed code and it's JSON LD, which I don't think is too heavy. But the way I do it is I've just experimented a bunch, and I've realized that you can mark up like pretty much every element on your website. So yeah, it's a combination of using a theme for WordPress called Genesis, which basically marks up different elements of your site, like your WP header, your sidebars, and all that stuff. And then the other plugins, which mark up like organization, breadcrumbs, website, blog posts, and a bunch of other stuff.
I mean, you talk about weight, and obviously everybody hears pros and stuff. Is it one of those things where really, I mean, if you build a website that's 2 seconds or under kind of thing, I mean, are you going to, is that one major going to be a major ranking factor with this whole mobile, you know, Armageddon kind of thing? Or is it like, basically, as long as you have good content, you can have an 8-second loading time website, you're still going to do good?
No, there's definitely a huge correlation. I mean, I've been reading articles from different sites, and pretty much all of them show an exact ranking factor between having anything like above a 2 or 3 second load time and your rankings going down after that. All right, so we got Victor and Michelle in the house. You guys, how you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
What's going on with you?
Hey,
that was the worst question in my life. All right, well, Victor, do you want to introduce yourself, man?
Yeah, I'm 20 years old. I do SEO locally at different places. Just trying to hang out with you guys, get more information.
Right on. Do you have like any clients right now?
I do actually. Not as much as you, but about about 10 of them. So
nice. How's that going?
It's going good. I did have a question for you though.
Yeah.
You may have said it earlier, but I guess if in your opinion, what are your best? It's a simple question. What are your tips on your link building? I guess what are your pro tips on link building? You know?
For like local, for national, for
definitely local. I'm sorry.
For local, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Local, I usually don't spend too much time doing link building until like later on after I do a lot of the other stuff, because there's a lot you can do to rank before you needing links. Of course, in really competitive niches, you're going to probably want them. But one of the things that I found that works really well, besides building authority and building like communities based off like content and funneling people to controllable assets like Facebook groups and emails and that kind of thing, where you can start grabbing links like that. The next thing would be to start plugging like your main competitors into tools like Ahrefs or something, and start checking out what links that they have that you can probably replicate. But as far as PBNs and stuff go, I really would not go that way. Like Eddie's saying, by the way, this is the first time Eddie's ever been on here. What's up, man?
Okay, I appreciate it. So I would assume, okay, well, so then you wouldn't suggest doing guest posting or down the comment section?
Yeah, so I mean, I've never really used guest posting as a strategy. I know a lot of people do it because it's kind of one of those most white hat sort of ways to build links, besides like direct outreach, which is really manual and wastes a lot of time in most cases. If I were to probably do a link building scheme, that would probably be it. But honestly, like with all of my local clients, I usually just try to identify the weaknesses. Yeah. What are you saying? Anyways, I
appreciate it.
So yeah, anyways, what I was going to say is that I try to just identify the weaknesses like in their strategy. Like for instance, a lot of people don't capitalize on review generation for Google My Business, which is always something that's really easy for me to take advantage of, because I know really good review generation tactics, which they're not really that great. I guess I use them and other people don't use them. And then I'll try to target areas of like, for instance, other services that maybe they're not building out their content on very well, or maybe they're only building links to their homepage, which is ranking for their main keyword. And then I'll try to take a lot of those pages and pass internal link juice to the main pages I'm trying to rank, which usually end up ranking them organically. So in a lot of the cases locally, I'm able to rank sites without doing a bunch of link building. Oh, did he leave? I guess he was done with my answer.
Yeah, I think he left right after you answered him.
Well, I'm glad I could be of help.
I'm gonna have to learn how to do this Google Hangouts. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, this is awesome, man. Like, honestly, I don't know why I haven't done this sooner. Yeah, we got Ronit in the house. Ronit's like literally one of my first viewers. Besides
cool.
Actually. Shane's around, and Shane, your name's Clint right now, which is really weird.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know why it's doing that, but like I was on YouTube and I was under my name, and then as soon as I switched to, clicked on the link, it changed my name to Clint, which is the Clausen Mobile Homes, the mobile home place that I'm actually advertising. So
I forgot to answer some questions on the chat. Sorry about this, guys. R. Davis says, on the Facebook page ranking, did you submit the Facebook page to Google for indexing, Shane? Shane, that question's for you, man.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Let me see.
On the Facebook page ranking, did you submit the Facebook page to Google for indexing?
No, I didn't. That's probably why it took so long. It took me like 3 weeks.
I don't even think you can submit a Facebook URL to Google, can you?
I don't know, but I didn't submit it. What I did is I just got him a bunch of citations and built the page. I mean, started started posting on it, and I mean, within 3 weeks, it was ranking. You know, matter of fact, it was ranking better than any other business in the area, their competitors.
Nice.
That's
We got a question that says, which language is best to set up a web page in JavaScript or HTML5 by Walking Miracle? Anybody got opinions on that? I personally would never use JavaScript.
WordPress.
Use WordPress all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think WordPress supports HTML5, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mostly
Yeah.
everything is now built with HTML5. It's really weird if you find anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you had to choose between JavaScript and HTML, I think I would always go with HTML.
Well, all websites have some sort of JavaScript built into it.
Right. You can use JavaScript for components, but I would use HTML to build the website if I was going to build the website out of either HTML or JavaScript.
Yeah,
But that's probably because I know HTML better than I do JavaScript too.
Well, HTML is super easy. I learned it when I was like 13.
well, if you look at like sites that are really heavy in JavaScript, like Wix, there's a lot of problems with indexing that content. Like Google does not like Wix.
Doesn't like JavaScript, I don't think.
What's that?
I don't think Google likes all that JavaScript and jQuery. Like the least amount as possible is better, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they are trying to get better at understanding it, but ideally, the more you can just move into like HTML, CSS, I think you're going to probably do better. All right, let's come up with a new topic, guys.
How would you do it for a rank and rent website?
How would you do what?
What would be your strategy in terms of everything from link building to schema?
Eddie, you missed it, man. At the beginning of this video, I talked all about it.
What the
Yeah.
fuck? I'll go back. I'll go back, man.
No, it's all good though. Yeah, so basically I made this post. You guys probably, some of you probably read it. It's basically going over like what I did to make the iPhone repair company. And I just kind of went through like choosing your domain name and your CMS, all that stuff, mapping out your keywords, creating your content. But I don't know. I think the real question is like, is it worth it to do rank and rent? Because honestly, like I've been doing it for a while and I don't know if it's that profitable.
I think it's better if you do actually pay per lead, which is selling the leads directly. And well, also the iPhone repair niche is really, really low. So you might get like $5 per call since they don't really spend that much. In comparison, what I'm working right now on is in an HVAC website, which each call you can sell it for $50 to $75.
Oh wow! But
So, yeah,
the question is, how do you pitch pay per lead?
It's very, very different. Pay per lead, the way you pitch it is like if you were selling SEO, but not really. So with pay per lead, it's called partners because you're both trying to succeed. If they mess up in any form, they don't do their job correctly, they don't respond to the client, it affects you because it's your assets, and it affects them as a partner as well as that you're not going to send them the calls. So how you sell it is, for example, I'm not going to be charging you. You're not investing anything or you're not paying anything that we haven't done. Right. So every lead you're selling up to them directly, and also you're doing what I would recommend is that you do exclusive leads. So you only send it to one person. Right,
yeah, because you're not going to want to send it to like 8 people.
Yeah, it's similar to what Home Advisor does.
One lead to 8 people, get all of them to pay you for it.
I think
yeah.
Hey, what about using, like, if you was going to rank and rent websites, why couldn't you do like the tower page that you built and just use like different folders or directories to build each individual office that you wanted to rent out. You know.
You mean like get a bunch of pages to rank on like the same site?
Well, yeah. I mean, just depending on where you was going to rank it, like name the directory for that city and state, and build a tower page, and just rank that one tower page for that city.
No, I did that, man. I was ranking at one point. I was ranking for computer repair on the first page for like 10 different cities, and I did it really fast. And what I also did, I talk about this in one of my earlier videos, is I got Google My Business locations for every single area, because what I did is I hired people off Craigslist, said I had work. I had no work. But I knew I was going to get some. And so I hired these people. I'm like, hey, hold on. There's going to be like an onboarding process. It's going to be a week before I can start sending you leads. And so as soon as they signed up, I told them I had to send them a Google My Business letter so that I could get their address verified, but I wasn't going to show it on the map. So I set it up as a service area. So that way we could start doing review generation. So even if they left, I'd have a location in that area and reviews to go with it. And then all I did from there is, while I waited for the site to rank, I just drove PPC traffic and then made money off of the leads. So everybody got leads, then I made money off of. The problem was, because I had 8 to 10 different places ranking, I wound up getting all these leads, and I had call tracking on like 10 different people, and I was trying to listen to all their phone calls, and like so I could keep track of like who was actually telling the truth and who was making money and whatnot, because there were so many people who were like either lying about making money, because it's so hard to track that stuff. So it just wound up being complete chaos. So it's totally doable, but like for me, the problem's never been the leads. Like even to this point, I can still get leads for SEO and convert them really easily. I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just saying it's true. And the problem for me is, like, I always have a problem scaling because I can never find, I guess my biggest problem is managing people and communicating with people.
Right.
Have you hired virtual assistants to help you?
Oh yeah, dude. I've probably hired and gotten rid of like over like 10 to probably around 10 people in the last couple months.
Wow.
Are you still using my citation girl?
No. She was the citation one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so she was great, but what wound up happening is I had this one random guy add me on Skype. He's like, I'm gonna give you 100 citations for any business you want. I'm like, okay. And then he wound up being like this pretty well-known guy that like SEMrush wrote about, like Search Engine Land. And now he just does all my citations for free.
Oh, wow.
Because I refer him so much traffic.
Right. Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is just tell your audience about it, and
yeah.
I mean, I got a lot of tools for free. I got Ahrefs for free. I got SEMrush. I got keywordtool.io, like a bunch of them, because so many people are willing to like give it away in order for me to like, be able to use it in my tutorials.
Keywordtools.io raise their price a lot. Is it me, or did they actually do it? Because I remember in the beginning it was like cheap. It was like $50 a month. Now it's like 100.
Yeah, I think KW Finder is way more worth it at this point.
I like keywordtools.io because it since I'm working more on PPL. It's amazing since you're able to show like just put like a city and it shows you what they're searching more for.
I think keywordtool.io is best for like for paid, honestly.
Which was the other one?
Huh?
Which one was the other one that you recommended?
KW Finder. It's only like 60.
Oh yeah. I actually got like some random ass group buy that I found for like $5 a month.
Nice.
I was like, yeah. It was crazy. I was like, what the fuck? They're being serious, $5 a month, and I was like, whatever. And the dude sent me the login like 2 months ago, and I still use it.
I have a question about the virtual assistants. Where do you kind of recommend getting one? Because I've listened to Tim Ferriss and things like this, and I went to look for some virtual assistants. I'd pay like $100 to see if somebody'd write a couple nice blog posts for me that had good content and stuff. And it turns out people were just like scamming it off the, online, just give me somebody else's content. How do you like verify and find the best virtual people, and not get scammed?
Hey, use Copyscape when you're checking those.
Yeah, there's actually a bunch of tools that you can use. One of them is Copyscape. The way that you can actually do is the first point that you brought up, finding virtual assistants. There's honestly a ton of ways for you to find virtual assistants. There's there's a Craigslist in your local city or your local county. There's actually a city in the Philippines and all across the world. So you can actually just post what you're looking for and have what I actually did is I created a Google Forms and they fill out their information. I might have it still available. I'll have to look for it. But what it covers is what expertise do they have, what previous experience, and the way that you'll get the best is that you put a detailed description of what you're trying to look for. Don't try to look for someone that does a million things because that's pretty impossible. If you're looking for a virtual assistant, what I would recommend is that you list and you try to be specific. So if you're trying to look for someone that does web development, don't try to get them to also do graphic design. Get experts or whatever, and it's going to cost you a little bit more. I got a virtual assistant. Virtual assistants, if you have for administrative work, they can cost you between $250, even as low as $225 per hour. I got mine for $275.
Yeah, see, I'm not trying to be necessarily cheap because I even heard like Brian Dean talk about how, he'd have somebody do like infographics and things for him. But it's one of those things I'm like, well, I got, so many eggs in different baskets everywhere. It'd be nice to have somebody to help me. And I wasn't trying to go cheap, but it was just like, some people were like, oh yeah, I could do a couple nice articles for $100. And then, I kind of just took some copy of the text, put it online, and found out they were just selling me somebody else's stuff. And so it's like, now I just have this horrible bad taste of like virtual assistants, so I'm just trying to find, some people that are actually like, I've been on like freelancer.com and like, it used to be Odesk. Now it might be something else, but something like that,
Hey, Chris, one of the things that you may do, I don't know if you're in any groups in Facebook or anything, but you may ask for a reference because I know, a lot of people that are doing SEO are using those virtual assistants. And if they've already used one that's good, then they'd probably give you a reference for you to use them.
The problem is,
because that's something that's very hard because, and actually I just mentioned this to Chase last night, is because, as kind of a new SEO is one of those things where you don't know if like people that are professionals are like completely just like,
right.
When somebody's coming up in the rankings, like, so say, obviously you must do some sort of Facebook stuff or different things like that. So you get somebody, say like an Amy Porterfield that'll sit there and say, oh, you're horrible, so that's my worry is like going into like a forum, be like, hey guys, I'm here to hang out and learn SEO. And they're like, dude, get out of here kind of thing. I don't know how the industry's like,
Well, there's a lot of people that will give you misinformation or bad information, but as a matter of fact, I think I learned more black hat SEO than I did white hat SEO before I ever learned anything that had to do with white hat SEO. But I've been in groups that were just business groups, not necessarily SEO, but just business groups where somebody comes in there and they've got clients, they're actually ranking and all that kind of stuff. And we get to talking about it. And I'll say, well, who are you using for, citations, or who are you using for whatever? And if they're pleased with what they're getting, then they'll tell you,
Yeah, there's actually, I haven't seen a group in a while that even even the ones that are really like the questions are very we'll call them dumb, like very basic. A lot of people will take the time to even answer those. So don't feel that you have that you'll get like kind of kicked out or anything, or called out for just asking just questions. Just feel free to. There's a ton of SEO groups. Even in Chase's group, if you post it there, I bet you're gonna find a bunch of people that are gonna recommend you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
actually
mean,
posted last night. You know, I have like, I have like, it's kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. I was talking to Chase last night. You know, I mean, I do SEO on the side, but I do construction during the day. I mean, I kind of burn both into the candles. I mean, I'm just kind of like, I'm the sole income for my family, so I'm like, I do what I can. But I actually truly enjoy doing SEO and you know, doing videos and you know, I've done a little bit of everything, just like most people. You know, writing like ebooks on Amazon and then doing like Udemy courses and things like that. And it's just one of those things where, I mean, I know a little, it's kind of like one of those things like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. You know, I basically know how to do a bunch of stuff, but I'm not actually good at anything. And so, you know, or not, I'm not, you know, not be weird like that, but, you know, so like going to the group last night, you know, I mean, it was like, yeah, I mean, I posted the question and here's like complete, you know, random strangers are like completely coming out of the woodworks answering questions. So that's what's really cool. And that's what's nice about everybody here and stuff is, you know, with Chase, you know, he's kind of bringing people together from all walks of life, and it's super cool. So I definitely appreciate it.
You know, and Chase, he'll answer any of your questions. He's not gonna make you feel dumb or anything because you asked something. I mean, I've asked him a lot of dumb questions. So
I'm actually gonna have everybody take an IQ test on the Facebook group, and anybody who gets below a certain score gets removed.
Right.
Will we still have an administrator?
Yeah. All right, we got a question from NMR. He says, roofers and tree guys could be good for pay per lead. A job for both starts at $3,000 on the low end, and I think Shane knows a little bit about this, and can get up to 10 to 14K. I'll admit it can be hard to find a partner that'll be willing to pay you though. He also said, in my experience, computer repair guys are the worst for SEO clients, at least in my experience, mainly because they don't make a lot for fixing PCs, maybe $100 to $200. Any opinions?
They
Yeah,
can be good. It's go for it, Clint.
I'm saying I'm on the wrong damn thing. I'm on the wrong profile. It's actually one of my customers' profiles. But anyway, yeah, I used to own a tree service. And you know, the problem with tree services is that we get so many calls from people saying that they're going to do stuff that they never do. And of course, they all want money up front. So, you know, it's like I've paid several people $800, $900 to get me ranked. And they say, well, it's going to take us 6 months to rank you. And then nothing happens, you know. And so, you know, while it may be a good niche, and yeah, we made really good money, you know, on a job, you know, I could make anywhere from $2,000 to $9,000 on a job most of the time. But it's just, you know, finding somebody that's not burned out on people that are selling SEO or marketing services.
Well, yeah, and aside, I have about tree services. I started climbing when I was 21, and did it for about. I just quit recently, and the tree services suck. I mean, sometimes in the wintertime you're broke. You're so broke in the wintertime when you're working, you know, and in the summertime you're rich, but yeah, I just want to add that aside. I did a lot of AdWords for tree services and very successful with it. And yeah.
That kind of brings up a good point. Just kind of throw it out there. I mean, if it's one of those things where, you know, some SEO people, they're kind of like, I mean, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but say kind of like a used car salesman or somebody who's like quick to pitch something like, oh, I can rank you #1 no matter what. I mean, how do you, like, if you're trying to be ethical, and I mean, how do you overcome all the crappy people out there?
Well, if you can do what you say you can do, and you can do it without charging them up front, then you could get a lot of clients. But you know, being able to charge them up front, you have to rank somebody first and be able to show them that, hey, I've ranked this company already, and they're ranking for these keywords, and let them check that out first. and then you can say, now I'll do the same thing for you for a fee, and you can tell them how much you're going to charge them. But anybody that doesn't have that kind of reference, I mean, I wouldn't use them, you know?
I think the problem overall is that a lot of people are not niching down, which is the problem overall, for the reason that they're trying to go for so many niches. And one of the things that Clint brought up is that you have to have prior work. And once you have so many people that you're working with, what? Oh, I'm lost.
No,
You can call me Clint. I'm Shane.
Is it Clint? It has Clint there.
Yeah, no, that's one of my customers. I clicked on the link and it changed my name because I'm signed into his account first.
Oh, okay. I don't know your name. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
What's your name, by the way? Now I'm lost.
Shane.
Oh. Okay. Like Shane mentioned, it's better once you niche down. It's going to be way easier for you to close clients because you understand their problems, what they're going through. It makes it way easier when you have 10 clients that you're like, I've already ranked 10 HVAC repair specialists, 10 for tree service or whatever. You're able to close them way faster and way easier.
You know what I discovered? I realized you don't really know how to sell SEO truly until you buy SEO. And so, like, it sounds ridiculous, but I started hiring people to help me with SEO. That's how I realized what I really wanted. And a lot of the time, people are looking for certain things, right? Like, are you credible? Do you have authority? You have, like, a reputation? And I think Eddie's really speaking the truth here when he talks about niching down. I don't know if that's necessarily the only way to do it because, like, for instance, I could get clients in many different niches at this point because of the authority I've driven. But if you're trying to hyper-focus one thing and you're starting out, you're going to get a lot more mileage by doing that because you have a lot less resources than somebody who has, like, a huge following. Now, in the end, it really comes down to, you know, what do you want to do? Because there's a lot of people who would rather have iPhone repair clients make $500 per iPhone repair client because they know they can rank them really easy versus, like, people who are only going for chiropractors who are making, like, I don't know, $3,000 to $5,000 a month or doing PPL like Eddie. But it's, like, extremely hard to rank because everybody's competing.
Yeah, it's like so I've like say you was able to rank a restaurant or something like that, or a tree service. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. And then you walk into a dentist office, and you know it's a real competitive niche. Like over here in Tyler, there's lots of dentists, and so I walked in there and I was like, "Hey, man, I can rank your company on page 1, you know." And this guy's like, well, I showed him the cleaning company over in Gun Barrel and all that, and he said, that's great, but this is, you know, the dentist niche here in Tyler is very competitive. How do you know you can rank me? And you know, I mean, I didn't really have a answer except for, hey, I've been studying, you know, I mean, because I didn't have that kind of background. I mean, I had never worked for a dentist before.
Right. So what if, like, so for example, then is it something where, like, I'm here in Colorado and I live in a small town, but is it better than to choose an industry and just kind of own it and go, say, national? So say like you did go for tree service, but say, you know, there's only 10 tree service companies in your area. And so basically if you did SEO for all of them, you're competing against yourself. Is it something where it's better so is it better to find an industry that you can go national with, or is it best to maybe just go local for the city? So I know, like in your example, you're talking about doing the dentist too. So like, you know, if I'm in Colorado and I mean, I'm in a small town, but it's close to Colorado Springs, is one of those things where, say, is it best to do like SEO for an entire city and say, hey, I can at least attempt to try your niche and figure it out? Or is it best to say, hey, I need to choose one industry and work on that national, you know?
Yo, wait, before we answer this question, I just want to welcome Darren. He's the guy we were talking about earlier with the PPL.
Is he here?
He's right here. Yeah, his mic's off, but he's here. Sorry,
Hey,
sorry to
Dan.
interrupt that question.
What's up, guys? I'm here. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Maybe yes. I don't know. Oh, first time on the internet, guys. Oh.
Did somebody want to address Chris's question? Because I was kind of freaking out when Darren got here.
Yeah, Chris. So, if you, I mean, yeah, do it. I mean, not national. I mean, I guess you're still going to do it on a local level, but you can do it in several different cities. But I wouldn't recommend working against yourself. So, like, I wouldn't take on more than one client in a city for a given niche. I know a lot of people do that, but to me, that's kind of counterproductive. I mean, who are you going to put on the top? You know. And some of the other guys may have a different opinion about that, but that's always my opinion. You know,
would it kind of come down to budget? So say you did, SEO for 2 tree service companies, but one has a budget of 2,000, so you have more options you can do. Where with one maybe only can do 500. So is it something where you might end up just it kind of is a case by case basis kind of thing?
Well, if you've got somebody that's willing to pay you 2,000, and you've got another guy that's willing to pay you 500, and they're in the same city, then I would definitely work for the guy that's paying you 2,000. I mean, I wouldn't work for both, but I would never work against myself. So if I'm working for a dentist in Tyler, then I'm not going to take on another dentist. I mean, there's a lot of huge companies that do that, and that's one of my main problems with them is they're not working for me; they're working for everybody.
So here's kind of an odd question, just throw it out there, and somebody might have an opinion. So here in Colorado, obviously marijuana is legal. It's one of those things where, as an SEO, do you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm not going to touch certain kind of industries because it might look bad on you?
No, I mean, well, I would say on some things, but I don't know that would be one of them. I mean, I probably wouldn't work for say a strip club or something, but I wouldn't have a problem working with a legal marijuana company.
Would you work in a strip club?
I would.
Hey, let's give Darren a chance to talk, man. Darren, we were talking about you earlier. We were talking about PPL, and I was talking about how we were probably going to get you on the channel at some point.
Yeah, we can still do that. I think I fixed the delay. Are you guys hearing me instantly now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Whoa, I learned how to use the internet. It's good. Yeah, so we could definitely do that stuff. I mean, obviously PPL is something it's a 5-day conversation if we want it to be. But listen, I'm a big believer. I only do personal injury law. I don't do DUI. I don't do bankruptcy. I don't do anything else but personal injury. So this is kind of the same thing that we do in our legal business, right? So we don't work with anybody else in the same area. We do sometimes work with people who cover the same quote unquote territory. As an example, one of my clients he does a couple $1 billion a year in fee income, in case settlements, not fee income, obviously, but case settlements. He's in 8 states. He's got 110 attorneys, and they're all over. So I'm naturally going to overlap some areas with SEO and efforts. Obviously we're getting paid by the lead that we bring in, but at the same time we're still covering multiple areas. So as an example, I don't know much about Colorado, so I'll just use the South Florida example. If you guys want, am I sorry about that? Everybody okay? Everybody okay still? Just a quick thumbs up.
Yes.
So I'm in South Florida, so I have West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami as my 3 main kind of areas there, and so. One of the attorneys happens to have a main office in West Palm Beach and another one in Miami, but they both kind of cover Fort Lauderdale. So, I have an open conversation with my attorneys and say, hey, listen, I happen to be per lead. So I say, hey, listen, guys, you guys are both covering this area. Who wants to bid higher for the lead price? That's kind of how we work our deal there. So that's kind of how we do it. But as far as going after multiple things, so somebody said something about landscaping, I think that's what they're talking about, or dentist, whatever it was. I think niching down and becoming a specialist does 2 things for you. Number one, it helps you to actually get new referrals. Not so much from people calling your past clients, but now you have case studies, right? If I am for me, it's personal injury. So every time I talk to an attorney, hey, what do you do? You know, hey, listen, I help law firms, you know, whatever I do. I have a whole, like, you know, elevator pitch. But what happens a lot of times is we try to be a jack of all trades. So we go to these like BNI networks, we go to these local charity events and do that stuff. And, you know, what do you do? I do internet marketing. Oh, my cousin does internet marketing. That's a different conversation than, hey, Darren, hey, what do you do? Oh, I do marketing for attorneys. Oh, my brother's attorney, you should talk to him. That's a different conversation, right? Every single time. So for that thing, niching down to me is obviously, you know, for me is very kind of powerful. And then if you have two people in the same area that go after the same thing, obviously it's a bidding war, right? If you're doing PPL or doing SEO, if you're doing let's say you're doing agency client work, we generally tend to have a conversation with both. And even if just because something's more expensive doesn't mean it's worth having, right? There's times that our normal agency rate for attorneys is 10 grand a month for just for straight up SEO and stuff like that, which we don't do anymore, but that's kind of how we start our pricing point. But we don't, if someone offered us $700 and I thought they were a good guy and actually were able to work with and understood the investment in marketing and wanted to grow his business and understood about expanding and doing different things and kind of understood my philosophy and thought process, I'd be more inclined to go with him versus a guy who is like super alpha male, which I don't work very well with, and guys who are like, you know, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. I'm like, listen, you're paying me to do my thing, so let me work, you know, kind of thing. So you have to decide what to do for that. But I never work with someone who has the same office location in the same area. The only time I'll ever overlap is when they're possibly in another area. And what I'll do is I'll tend to do SEO for one and PPC for the other. It's the only time I ever comment.
Did I hear this right, Darren? What you do is you reach out to two people in the same area and you tell them that one of them's getting leads and it's up to the other to outbid the other one? So
if I have, I don't do that before I have the partners, to be clear. If I already have a partner in the area who covers, like, say, Fort Lauderdale, and remember, I'm pay per lead, so I only get paid so I don't get any monthly retainer. I get nothing until I get results. So for me, it's very important that I'm getting the most per lead because I'm doing the most work, right? So if let's say I have a partner in West Palm Beach who also covers Fort Lauderdale, and then a new partner from Miami comes up and says, hey, I also want to cover Fort Lauderdale, I'll say to him, listen, here's the deal. I already have leads coming in organically through this or whatever. I'll be open with my partner and say, hey, listen, I can continue to do SEO for you, but this other partner wants to do PPC management, where we do the PPC management for a fee. We get paid per lead for that way too. Is that okay? If he says, no, I want to cover all of them, I say, fine, let's go with you again. And obviously, here's the price point, right? They say they both want it, and it's like, you know, they kind of go like, well, I don't really care. What do you want to do? I'll try to price both out differently. So, like, for instance, we charge $375 per personal injury lead. So obviously for SEO, if I was just doing SEO for someone, I'd probably charge a little bit less, probably charge $250 because I'm not doing as much ad spend, obviously, than I would be on the PPC side. So, and usually that's not, and I'll usually compete with different keywords. So for instance, I'll do, in my space, I'll do slip and fall, what we call premises liability. And then on the other client, I'll do auto accidents. So I'll just mix them up. So I'm still doing SEO in both areas. I'm still doing the things, but I'm targeting different sets of keywords too. So it all depends on what the relationship is. And listen, I have, my attorney clients are all pretty open about what's going on. So they will kind of want to see, like, hey, you know, they all know each other anyway. So if I did something kind of like around the way, they would all know. So they all kind of talk and go to events together. So it's kind of like a way to work around it. But you can still, you know, maybe you do commercial for one and residential for another in the same area. For PPL, for home services stuff like landscaping, like roofing, like AC repair, we actually do get 2 people per area. And what we do is called a round robin. So both people get called, and whoever answers that call first gets that lead. But we're per lead basis. We're not obviously getting a monthly retainer. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, I guess my question, Jared, would be like, how would you set something up like this for somebody who, or maybe not you set up, I mean, how would somebody start going about this who's like going already for maybe the SEO retainer model and they maybe wanted to start to like the PPL model?
So I recommend if you are going to a PPL model, it's not, it's a lot of effort in the beginning, let's call it. You need to make sure that you know how to do stuff, like how to rank, how to do PPC, how to do stuff and actually get results. You don't need results necessarily to get a client, but you need results to make money next month because you're going to start sending some money pretty quick. Before 2015, we used to not charge anything at all, ever, anything up. Now we charge the first 10 leads, but it's really prepaid. It's not necessarily, that's only a one-time thing. They prepay the first month. I would find out who in your client base, if you have an agency already growing an agency, find out who you work well with already. So let's say you work really well with landscapers. That's what we were talking about before. If you work really well with landscapers, I would just do landscape work, because here's the reason, right? When you niche down, when you just do one thing, you become an expert at that. Like I said before, we all want to work with experts, right? But most importantly, the keyword research is done, the site design is done, and your CRO or conversion rate optimization can be done multiple times. So for instance, if you have a landscaper in Florida, a landscaper in Georgia, a landscaper in Tampa, a landscaper in Milwaukee, whatever it is, you kind of already know what the market who is buying landscaping services that go to your partner, to your client, you already know what they're going to convert with. You already know what landing pages do. And when you find a version of that works really well, you just copy that across all of your landing pages. So there is no reason anymore to go out and like tomorrow figure out how to do roofing SEO, and then tomorrow figure out how to do AC repair, and then tomorrow I'll do plumbing, and then tomorrow I'll do whatever it is. Every single thing you're doing is repetitive, and you just keep doing that same thing. You have all these processes, SOPs down, and you're just scaling your business from that point.
So are these your websites, or are you doing the SEO for the client's websites?
So there's two models in PPL. There's client-based, and then there's partner-based. So we call everybody a partner in our business, but for anything that doesn't require a lot of research, we own it. So for instance, if we're currently moving into the home improvement space. We're not currently there. We're in the process of moving there. Anything that's home improvement based, I would have my own website. So for instance, anything emergency based where someone just looks at a website and just calls, totally fine. I would own that asset. It's a little more difficult to do that in the higher end personal injury space, where people are doing a little bit more research on someone before they hire an attorney. So we do partner with our attorneys. But I would recommend for 99% of the market, I would say own the asset. Definitely own those businesses. You can always put your partner's logo and license number on your website, like almost like an advertising platform. Like this area is serviced by XYZ landscaping company, and they put their license number on there. But a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll kind of research your company and see your social media. So in the personal injury space, for instance, like Morgan & Morgan, we actually run all of their SEO, we run all of their PPC, we run all their CRO. So anything that comes through any of their funnels, we get paid on. So this is how we work it, because we work the social media, we work the ad campaigns, we work everything. I wouldn't recommend doing that for a home kind of service thing, because first of all, the type of social media you're going to be doing is very here's how to cut your lawn, or here's, hey guys, don't forget to fertilize your grass today, whatever it is, right? They're going to be less of the higher end funnels, where like our Facebook ad funnel is 17 steps. I mean, it's ridiculous on a 4-day process. So they can go multiple areas. That's something that's a little more advanced, I would say. For the most part, you want to own the asset for sure.
So I'm not understanding why you would want to SEO somebody's site if, for instance, say they were paying per lead, but then 3 months down the line, they're like, well, the SEO is all done. Now we're just going to leave, right? Yeah.
So that's where over the years, we've learned a process called pay to play first. So we call it pay to play. So in the first, I have a mentoring program. I'm not here to pitch that, obviously, but in our thing, we talk about what's called WOW service. So the first 90 days that we work with someone, we do a lot of things that helps retain them, and a lot of touch and a lot of things that we do, like gift baskets. And if you guys on the YouTube channel, I have you were there, obviously, my pitch at my speech at LCT.
It's on my channel, by the way. It's the only
cool
video I recorded.
Awesome, thanks, man. But also too, then what we do is in the first 90 days, we only do PPC campaigns, even if we're not profitable. Which usually in the first 90 days, we're pretty close to break even in those, because we kind of make sure we get leads to see how they pay, see how they dispute leads, see how they do every stuff first, and then we start SEO in 90 days later.
Okay.
Relationship building. This is not a client. This is a relationship. This is a partnership. So.
Right. Okay. So you said you were moving away. Sorry for all the questions. I'm just curious about this.
Yeah.
You said you were moving away from the lawyer business or based businesses to the home base. Is there a reason why you're doing that?
Yeah, so there's two things. To be specific, I actually work in the personal injury space only. So I only do pretty much 3 things. Premises liability, which is your slip and falls, trip and falls. Someone goes to your local supermarket, falls, and there's no sign up, that kind of thing. Also we do personal injuries, auto accidents. So if you do like, any kind of truck accident, motorcycle accident, auto accidents, we do those as well. And the last one is something very exclusive. Actually, we do 4 technically, but the real name is it's called mass tort. So any kind of class action lawsuit. So we helped with the Morrison tobacco thing. We helped with that, get people into that. We actually run a lot of TV ads for that, a lot of TV stuff. We do mesothelioma, that sort of thing. And then the last one is a small little sub niche, which I have 2 attorneys that do something called key tam, which is like kind of like whistleblower, but it's a specialized form of whistleblower law for government employees or government contracts. It's a little unique. The reason I'm getting away from that because the vast majority of my business is those 2 areas of auto accident and premises liability. Premises liability will be there for a while, but those are usually not as profitable or as voluminous as something like auto accidents, obviously. With the technology we have coming out with autonomous cars and safety things on cars, we're seeing a steep decline in number of accidents that cause serious damages. There are accidents still; those haven't decreased that much, but the number of accidents, number of injuries from those accidents, and the damage from those. So there's a couple things that happen inside of a personal injury case. There's neglect and liability, and the other thing that go in there, but those are coming harder to get, and the payoffs are a lot less. What used to be a couple $100,000 for an average case is, I mean, if you had to do like a mean average of the cases, are probably less than 10,000. But we get a lot of cases that are about 50,000. As those are winding down, you're going to see a lot of law firms automating a lot of that process. A lot of these cases are very easy to settle for under 30,000, and there's now AI software to do that. A lot of these cases are very cut and dry. A lot of the standardized. I have a software company called Jury Tech. So Jury Tech does voir dire or voir dire, depending on what part of the country you're from. Basically, is jury selection, and so in that process, we can now see we have big data that shows types of cases around the country, average payouts, criteria for that, and we're mining that data to show the average value of a case, and it's dropped almost 48% in the last 2 years. So for us, we're not getting out of it tomorrow. We're not moving out of it in the next 2 or 3 years. We're slowly moving into the home improvement space to the idea is to get away from that eventually. So the next 10 years, we're completely out of that space, doing just mass torts. But even mass torts now, there's so many things like social media which are playing a part where, I'm competing with before, like in 2012, 2013, 2014, I was getting 1,000 leads a month from Facebook. Now I'm getting a couple hundred because everybody's doing it. So it's costing me more per lead. Obviously, back in I would say probably up into 2015, I was getting personal injury auto accident cases through Facebook ads for less than $70. I'm doing about $130 a lead now. So it's crept up a lot in the last couple years because everybody and their mother is advertising. And it's not so much that they're advertising for personal injury auto accident, but they're advertising everybody on Facebook.
But why home and business? Like, wouldn't you want to switch to something else of high value, like cosmetic dentistry or something like that?
So I'm a big believer in volume and process. So we're setting up our own PPL version of Home Advisor. We have a whole call center set up. We're doing a whole thing where we want it to be pretty much hands off for people who are going to be on the software eventually. We're going to build a software suite where it can track different segments of people where they come from and then upsell things down the road. And actually, we found a lot of people. There's a lot of need for digitalization of the home improvement service businesses, let's say, including like follow-up sequences, review software, also getting long-term contracts and then referrals. There is some software out there, but they don't do it from the PPL side where the partner who gets them can make money on it. The high-end niche is still going to be there. Like I said before, we're still doing premises liability. We're still going to be doing mass torts, but with the commoditization of a lot of those, and also with AI, like obviously IBM is their how would they call it? Watson is literally changing how we do law. It's like ridiculous. So yeah, sure, high-end niches like dentists, stuff like that. I hate dentists and chiropractors, so I won't ever use those guys. No offense to any chiropractors, dentists on the call, except for Pete Gillespie. He's a pretty cool guy. He's one of my former students. But I just think like for us, it's all about volume. I can get, so just so you guys know, there's 3,144 counties in the United States. I could build 20 sites per county, 60,000 sites. I can make 20, 30 million a year doing that. So I'd rather do that instead of trying to go after 5 or 4. And again, because of the way that business works, I own all those assets now. I own very little of the assets that I have for the personal injury space, except for the mass tort stuff. I own all the mass tort stuff, and I own all of the premises liability stuff, but the personal injury stuff I don't own. You know, I have proprietary, let's call it, funnels, but again, those are not, a lot of that stuff is not owned. And listen, I'm making plenty of money. I mean, I'm doing mid-7 figures a year. I'm doing fine. I'm just saying, eventually I see the writing on the wall. It's going to eventually die out. Okay,
I have one last question, then you guys can ask him whatever you want. Darren, so what are the sort of the downsides of, in comparison to like the traditional model that most agencies are going for with just the retainers? What are kind of the downsides and upsides of, like, if you were to compare the two?
Yeah, sure. So downside, I will definitely tell you, if you're not a self-motivator, if you are not a good SEO, if you're not a good PPC manager, you will not make money with this business. It's just not going to happen. A lot of people get very comfortable with knowing that every month they're going to have a check coming in. I mean, I pretty much know we're almost up to 15 grand a day in my business. We're trying to hit 15 grand a day by the end of 2017. We're probably not going to hit it because I've been doing so much damn coaching lately. But if I get away from some of that stuff and do a little more of my own stuff, I'd actually be able to make more. That's all my businesses, including Jury Tech and Supreme Athletes, stuff like that. But my holding company, it's called. Anyway, so that's some of the downside. Obviously, you need to kill, so you got to be able to close partners and do stuff. I'll tell you, there's a lot more upsides though. The cool thing about PPL is that you get to actually participate. So, for instance, in the legal space, I cannot legally participate in a case that someone has. Now, I can technically for things like SSD and some of that stuff, but in the personal injury space and honestly for most law spaces, I'm not allowed to participate. So if someone wins $1 million case, if we had one guy win $412 million, I got nothing out of that. I mean, I got, since we're on the internet, I'll say I didn't get anything for that case, but you do get per lead. So, it's just one of those things where, but I get to participate in the fact that I get paid for my work. So, for instance, let's just say you have a $2,000 a month contract for a local business. If you produce 1,000 leads a month or 100 leads per month, you're still doing your job, but you're not making any more money, right? In my business, I don't have any law firm that we're not making at least 20 grand off of a month. Now, that SEO contract is probably only worth 10,000 or so, and I also get to cut out a lot of the bullshit that comes along with SEO contracts. Like this literally happened to me in I think it was 11 when we first started doing PPL kind of really full time. I had a client. This is before I got fired the first time, which is in 2007. For those of you who haven't seen the video yet, watch the video. I got fired. That's how I got PPL in the first place because I needed a job. What happens is they'll be like, hey, like I have as an example, if you Google personal injury attorney in almost any state in the country or any city that's big, you will not find any of my partners in there. But we get 100 to 150 personal injury leads a month per partner. Okay, so that's probably not that many. It's probably average a little less than 100. But anyway, the thing is though, if I had an SEO client, they would ask me every day, hey, we're not ranking for personal injury attorney. But I'm like, it doesn't matter if I'm ranking for personal injury attorney because I'm ranking for all the other stuff, right? All the stuff that actually matters, all the stuff that actually people are searching for, because only SEOs and personal injury attorneys search for personal injury attorney. Most of them are doing car wreck attorney, accident attorney, seatbelt injury lawyer, like, stuff like that people are actually typing into Google versus like, they think that everything's personal injury attorney. So like in Miami, I have one of my partners in Miami, he was originally saying like, hey man, like, I noticed we're not ranking for a lot of the big keywords. I'm like, yeah, because everybody else is trying to. Like you're getting 4,000 people a month to your stupid little dinky website. Like it's good. Like we're fine. It's a lot of long tail. I do very little SEO building, link building. I mean, I do obviously a lot of SEO, technical SEO. We do press releases of that obviously because we're a law firm. But but a lot of that stuff is like not heavy. Like it's all like citation based and then boosting citations and then getting local relevant links. I mean, SEO is not hard. A lot of people try really difficult things to do. A lot of it's technical SEO. Obviously, for a personal injury attorney, I would need to do a lot of link building and really strong, powerful link building. But as a good example, one of my clients up in West Palm Beach ranks for nationally for trip and fall. So most people think, and most attorneys think, oh, slip and fall. But if I tripped over a curb, what do you type in? I trip and fell. All right, you know, a trip and fall accident. You know, they're not going to type in slip and fall because you tripped. So everybody else is trying to go slip and fall. I see all, if you go to SEMrush data, it's like, I don't know, it's like a billion people looking for slip and fall, but trip and fall is a lot less. And we're getting 9 to 10 calls a month from that keyword, and it's national. Obviously, we don't, not in every case, but as an attorney, my partner can co-counsel, so I can still get paid for that lead, obviously, stuff like that. So it's just things that a lot of people do. So I think on that side, it's great. There's also less reporting. So our reporting is very simple. We only do. So we bill every Friday, and then, well, actually we invoice on Friday, we bill on Tuesdays. That's every week. Nobody is outside of that pay schedule. You have to pay us every week. So it includes people we've had since like 2011. We've had partners for years and years and years that we still pay that way, that still pay us that way. And actually, when it gets to a certain level, they'll actually start billing themselves, which is awesome, which law firms do because they have intake departments. But there's a lot of less bullshit involved with the work. There is no like, how many links did you build this month? How many pages did you build? How much did you do this? How much did you do that? It's just me getting the results that they care about. Because at the end of the day, all those questions they ask is because you're not producing enough business for them to grow, right? The one thing I will say is a negative side too, is that not every client, or what we call a partner, is good for PPL. So for instance, if they only have one lawyer, don't use them. If they only have one truck and one person, don't use them for PPL. There will become a day when your PPL bill is due, and as an example for like a roofer, their truck breaks down. They're going to make a decision who to pay, and I guarantee you it's not going to be you. So just stay away from single people, like, all right, and that does limit your marketing ability, right? You can't market to everybody. You just need to make sure that people understand the what we call the investment of marketing, not that they pay for marketing. It's an investment in marketing. So, you know, that's kind of like my pros and cons. There's a lot more pros to PPL, but you know, it is nice sometimes to have you know, a steady paycheck and know what's coming in every month. But if you do SEO really well and you do PPC really well, then you can do that same thing. So it's not both ways. Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Thanks, Darren. I would ask more, but I want to give these guys a chance. I think Shane wanted to know something, but it looks like he might have left. He was going to ask you about
so using social media PPC or AdWords. Is he saying social media comma PPC or just AdWords? Because I do social media PPC and regular search engine marketing, so SEM and SOM. So I'm not sure what he's asking there, but I'll answer that. I do all of them. So we do Facebook ads. We don't do much Twitter stuff. We post on Twitter daily, Monday through Friday, for all of our partners, and we have a schedule for that. So like I have a lot of law stuff. So some people get law memes on certain days. We're actually one thing you can all do is if you're in home services, just put a little comment in the section. If you're in anything home service, I don't care what it is. If it's roofing, HVAC, whatever it is, if you're in home services, put a little something in there in the comment section. Cool. So who in here is also into fitness? Have you ever heard of Transformation Thursdays, or the Tuesdays? Transformation Tuesdays, I think it's called. I don't do social media, my team does. So why don't you have a post on your Twitter or your Facebook that says Transformation Tuesday and show an old flooring to the new flooring? And the cool thing about that is it's not so much that's not going to get you clients today, but you can join that hashtag, right? You can join that hashtag, and people who are looking for that hashtag, either on Twitter or on Facebook, can see your before and after thing and think, oh, dude, I need flooring. Shit, I need flooring. You might get one person, and maybe that won't be in your area. Maybe that'll never work for you. It takes literally 3 seconds to do, and you can post that every other week on different social media profiles. It's a very simple thing to do. So Transformation Tuesday. Another one is a flashback or a throwback Thursday. So again, same kind of thing, before and after pictures, right? I think it's is it Fun Fridays? Like show stuff around the truck. Like we have like there's so much B-roll out there now. We have like a plumber like dancing or we call it Fun Fridays usually for the home services stuff. We'll do like something like the butt crack meme for plumbing or something. Something stupid, whatever, or like a DIY thing. So DIY Fridays. We'll show you guys. Here's how to fix your condensate drain line. Here's how to regrout your flooring. And if you need more help, if you want to do it for you, have a call us here. We'll give you guys 10% off for our DIY Friday special, whatever it is, right? On social media, you got to be social. You can't be pitch all the time, right? It's got to be a little bit of both. As far as PPC, yeah, we do a lot of AdWords. We're spending over $1 million a month in AdWords for our partners. We obviously, some things we manage, some things we do ourselves. Depends on what it is. Some of the PPL we do is partner invested, where they put the money in the AdWords spend, and then we manage it for a fee per person that comes through there, which is obviously not $375 per lead, just to be clear. And the other one was, what do you say? Oh yeah, or an AdWords, yeah. So PPC AdWords, yeah. So we're doing Facebook. Our biggest areas are Facebook, being, I guess in order of spend, it'd be AdWords, Facebook, Bing, and then we do buy a lot of network stuff, so niche specific. So we do a lot of arbitrage too, where we buy ads from one place and sell them off as a so in other words, like for instance, for Avo, we spend $15,000 a month in Avo leads. I think we pay $115 for those, and we instantly transfer those over to our partner and charge $375. So obviously not all those are qualified, but we have a pretty high qualification thing. But yeah, we do that too. So we do arbitrage too. So that's kind of a PPC kind of thing, paper lead kind of thing. So yeah.
But arbitrage really only works if you're going nationally, right?
No, it depends on what you're doing. So you can do arbitrage a couple different ways. So technically, arbitrage is instantly transferring a purchase lead to a partner. It's like where you don't really touch it per se. Let's just say, as an example, like Avo. I think when you go to Avo now, I'm not sure what their actual regular price per lead. I think it's $145 or it's one something for personal injury. We pay $95 for the bulk of them, and then some are obviously the mass torts we pay a little bit more. But you can do as an area. You can say, hey, I only want to target these areas, because they have national sites. So when someone fills out a form from your zip code, you can get those leads come through your funnel. So yeah, so it can be localized. Now, a better way to do arbitrage would be to buy out a national. Like obviously, the national is better, but you could definitely niche down and go localized with the arbitrage. It just depends on where you're buying them from. Technically, in theory, AdWords is technically in a way arbitrage, right? Because even though you're paying for that spot there, you're using Google's platform to get a lead that goes right to your partner. So, it's what you want to call it. But yeah, but even like for us, like we just tried someone recently for roofing. We're trying to do some stuff in roofing. We spent like $4,000 on this one company to do leads, where we're actually doing a sold and closed model. So again, there's a lot of models of PPL. A lot of different things you're doing. But what you can do on that is where we're actually working the leads, because in that space we can. Now in the legal space, I can't do that, because if I talk to a client and I give them off to my attorney, I'm then a lower referral service, which I have to be licensed for. This way, I'm just an advertiser, and they have to have to adhere to state bar licensing and stuff in the advertising. But I'm not talking to the client, so there's no issue there. But yeah, arbitrage can be local. It depends on what provider you're using. So yeah.
Aaron, we had somebody ask about how do you do all this tracking?
So we have a full-time analytics person. Actually, we have 3, but one who's like a lead, and then we have 2 VAs that set up stuff for us. For the initial setup for all of our stuff, we use a company called Longtail Marketing. Actually, no, they were bought out. I'll get the name for you. We use someone. It's $500 for a lot of clients. We don't do it for other stuff, but it's analytics. That's the most thing. And then also too, so all of we have, probably, I think our monthly bill is 45,000. So what is that? 20-something thousand keywords. I have phone numbers. I don't know the number. It's like, I think we pay 40-something thousand a month in phone numbers and minutes through, multiple services. And then we also have a call center, which costs a little bit of money, but it's a virtual call center. It's not a real call center. We use a software called Five9, Five9. I think it's called that. Five9 is the software we use. But yeah, so there's form fills, there's analytics is I would say, you can do it all with analytics, and now the suite is so awesome. If you guys haven't used the new analytics from Google, it's fucking phenomenal. The suite. So the data reporting is great, but that's all internal. We don't give any of that stuff to our partners. All that stuff is internal. That's just for us to get our better CRO, because obviously we're anywhere between a 40 to 60%, I guess margin, I guess you would call it, on our stuff. We try to get that. We try to get at least 50. We try to at least double. We price it at 30, but when you go in business operation costs, like obviously if I'm buying like we can get PPC. Our cost per click on AdWords is like anywhere for personal injuries, like anywhere between 30 to 50. We don't target number one. We target lower and stuff. I'll show you guys eventually one day how to do all that. But then we try to, our lead cost is like usually 3 clicks for a call. It's usually like, the worst case scenario. We have a lot of campaigns doing better than that, but obviously, we just try to figure, a third. And then obviously we have internal costs. So we have, I have 14 employees that have, phone numbers and websites and hosting and tools and shit. So we only use really 3 main tools, which is Google Suite. So we use everything Google wise. We do Google Docs. We have, I think, 1.5 terabytes on Google Docs, SOPs and shit, and video training. And then we have SEMrush Premium, which is like $500 a month. And then we do, we have Bright Local, and I think White Spark. It's the only things you really kind of use. All the other stuff is kind of like people's preferences. So employees have a budget per month of $300 per month they can use on the tools that they like. So.
Jesus, man, that's intense, dude. Because honestly, I'll tell you, man, I've been personally thinking about switching to the PPL model because it's really hard to productize SEO in terms of like retainers, because if you're just charging by hours, then you have a lot of problems, and it's especially around people asking what you're doing for those hours, right?
Yeah, so this is where the conversation needs to change as we sell, right? So for those of you who have not, on my YouTube channel, obviously Chase has his as well, but I also have the actual video from LCT there as well. At the end of that video, it's like I think I'm almost an hour there. I have what's called a flanking pitch. This is how you pitch your stuff. So the idea here is that you are a consultant, which is different than being a worker, right? So someone who works by the hour. Now we quote unquote bill by the hour in theory, right? Because we know if I was doing SEO client work, but we're not going to get paid by the hour. What that means is that I'm always going to put a premium on what I do. So you're not just getting the work done, which you can commoditize. Like obviously my Jury Tech outsources to a company called Rocker Labs, which I'm on the board of, so it's kind of cheating. I'm on the board of Rocker Labs, and we have 50 employees down in Colombia, which we code through there. So they code everything in Colombia. That not all 50 hours they're working for me, but the point is they have 50 people down there. I have like probably 4 people. The thing ability for 10, but I really have 4 people working on my project. Feels like, but the point of all this is that just because you are not getting paid to do the work, you're getting paid to know what work to do. There's a big difference there, right? So the conversation is to go, hey, listen, I've seen that you've been doing a lot of stuff for SEO. About how long you've been in the game? I've been doing SEO on my site for like 5 years now. I haven't really had a lot of success. Hey, listen, I'm going to change all that, but I have to fix some things from the past. Knowing what to fix is probably just as important as actually fixing it. So I just want to have a conversation with you today about, hey, what's up? I don't know who that was. About this or whatever it is, and then go down that path of you're the consultant who can also fulfill the work. And that's where you start charging more per hour. So we went from $65 an hour to now I'm $750 an hour for consulting, right? So we do with law firms before. So we charge every law firm that we work with a $3,000 upfront retainer to consult with them if we work together from PPL. Because we go through all their stuff to see how much work's involved, right? So they get a full audit from us. We have it's a ridiculous audit. We charge them $3,000 for that audit. If they work together, then we refund that. That becomes their leads, right? Their first leads. And then if we don't work together, then obviously we keep that money. But that's all. Listen, this is all like when you get down the road, man. And I would say, like I said before, that's the problem is you're talking to an advanced PPL person. I would say that's not the question to ask, right? It's like, sure, commoditizing your hours is always a problem, but don't be an hourly commoditizer. Be a consultant, right? You're not an SEO worker because I can go to India and get SEO work done. Is it going to be shit work? Of course, but it's going to be cheaper, right? You're a consultant. You're
What the hell just happened? What the heck? What? Dude, everybody just dropped off of here. I've never seen that in the history of Google Hangouts. Dude, I think it's one of these people. I think that Kevin guy came in here and he somehow figured out how to drop all these people. I don't know why Jonathan's still in here. I don't even know who Jonathan is. What is going on? Hello? What the hell?